All right. Uh, Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. In case you still have some of your colleagues who registered and they'll be joining us, just tap them and let them know that we've started. I think I've done my part to share that message in the group. But for now, we're going to start just so that we can exhaust the conversation that we have ready. So, thank you for joining us for the second episode of Coffee and Science. We mentioned in the first episode that the whole idea of this platform is just to have raw, honest conversations, right? We don't want to come with textbook answers and pre-written scripts about. We want to extract value and experiences just so that you can be able to pick as much information as you can. And if it will be helpful, maybe shorten your learning curve or help you make a stronger application or achieve more in your academic journey, I think we would have accomplished our mission. So, what we're going to do today is basically just have a conversation with probably my favorite dog in the whole world. It's funny that life has taken her and me to very similar places. We shared high school, and then she ran away from us. Went far North Africa, I think, around the MENA region. And then she came back and found me in the eastern part of Africa. And now we are both into what we love, and that's research. So that's Dr. Venzo Siamaluve. She's a PhD in molecular biology and biotechnology with so many publications. I've lost count and citations, and she's been doing so many interesting things. She has lecturing experience. She has project management, contractual experience. There's so much that she has achieved, but above all is she's a multiple time recipient of different scholarships. And I think that's the conversation that we'll be having today, right? When we have this conversation around scholarships, most times is we tend to focus on a very particular scholarship and then focus on things like how do I make a strong application, and but those things are very difficult to have as a conversation in a general setting like this one because different people are going to apply for very different scholarships, and those different scholarships will have different requirements, different curves, and so it's not possible for us to touch on very specific scholarships. However, we are going to walk the journey on why really scholarships are important and what was Dr. Benzo's experience. I'll try to throw in my experience here and there, but what really was our experience, and what really should you think about before you get to the whole application process before you even do it. Do you really need the scholarship? What are the trade-offs? Because as we know in life, for every decision that you make, there is definitely a trade-off. So what are the trade-offs and so many other things? So that's generally the conversation that we're going to have today. We received a lot of registrations, and we received a lot of questions around scholarships, but we tried to compress those into seven key conversation points. And so that's what we're going to focus on. However, we're going to have this conversation for about 30, 40 minutes with Dr. Venzu, just hear from her, and then we'll reserve the next 10, 20, 15 minutes for an open dialogue, questions in case you have something very specific, right? So the rules are simple. There's no such thing as a dumb question. So if you have a question, just leave it in the chat while we listen from Dr. Benzo. And then once we get to the QA session. We just explore every other question. You can raise your hand and just say what you have to say or ask the question you have to ask, and then let's see how it goes, right? So, yeah, Dr. Wenzo, I'm on you now. I know we've greeted each other, but let me say hi again. And how are you doing?
I'm fine, Moda. How are you? That's a lot of doctors I've heard.
Yes, you really worked hard for that title, so we'll make sure that we use it. Yeah, so let's get into your journey. You've been awarded multiple scholarships. I know, I've, I've been with you at least with one of those, but I know you were not always in East Africa, not always in Zambia. You were somewhere up in the north, right? So I'd like you to just take us back to the very beginning. What was the driving force that made you choose this route, and was it always the plan for you?
Thank you. Thank you, Monda. Good evening, everybody on the call. My name is Venzu Siamaluve. So I was born and raised in Zambia. After my I recognize we're not all Zambians here. So when I say grade 12, I mean ordinary level. So after my ordinary level of secondary school or high school, I applied for a scholarship under the Zambian government and Algerian government's bilateral agreement. And so I went to Algeria in North Africa to pursue my bachelor's degree. And while there, I continued to do my master's. So was it always the plan to apply for a scholarship? No, actually, it wasn't the plan. After grade 12, we all thought to stay local and just apply to local universities and continue as friends from high school. But then reality check hit like afterwards. Like, do you know how much it costs to study in a local university? I sat down with my parents. We had a genuine heart-to-heart conversation. Like, this is how much it costs. We do not have that money right now, so we need to explore other avenues. So that's when the plan there was a reroute in the plan. I met colleagues while looking for scholarships. Someone put me up to it, like, oh, do you know there's actually a scholarship running right now? We called it the Bursaries Committee back then, but then I think now it's the Higher Education Loans and Scholarship Board. So like, oh, there's a scholarship running right now. It's for Russia. So I was like, Russia, what am I going to do? The deadline was forthcoming. Like, I wouldn't make it to submit my application before the deadline. So that's when I went to make inquiries at their offices. They said, oh, don't worry, there's another one coming, Algeria, Seychelles, and the like, so you can always apply. So that's when I went ahead and applied and was called for interviews, and voila, I found myself in North Africa. So the drive to go on for the scholarship was financial needs, and also the drive for university, of course, it was for science. I've always loved science. I know everyone says I'm passionate about science, and but it's cliche, but I'm also passionate about science. Yeah, like real science to solve real life problems, not only in Africa, but globally as well. So yeah, that was the drive. Thank you.
That's really interesting. And looking back, do you think if you had the means, let's say, to study within Zambia, would you have still considered scholarships, or maybe that was out of necessity? And I know sometimes we can only make sense of certain things when we look back. So, looking back, considering that for that particular decision, there were probably trade-offs. Maybe you wanted to be closer to family, or so. Do you have something that you would look back and say, this is what taking this scholarship really cost me personally, socially, or maybe professional prospects, and uh, was it worth it, the experience that you had there?
Thank you. That's actually a very good question. Look, this is a two-part answer for me. If you ask me that, that was 2014, I would not think that the scholarship route was for me, or I would go for it. I wanted to be home with family and friends also. I just to keep building on the friendships that I made in high school. So I didn't have any thoughts of leaving the country then. But if you ask me right now, today, I am all yes to going for a scholarship. I'm happy I did. Did it cost me? Yes, it did. Firstly, personally, like you asked. So personally, I had to sacrifice a lot. My comfort, like you mentioned, being close to family, I sacrificed that. I was far from family. I went to a different country, different region of the continent where the culture was different, the cuisines was different, the language, most importantly. I think if most people are aware, the North African region, they speak Arabic. So it was a transition from this Tonga English speaking girl to hearing people speaking Arabic. I go to class and I'm told I have to study. We were taught prior, but then we had to learn in French. So the transition of I did not know any French personally. I didn't learn any French whatsoever. I didn't even know a greeting in French. I need to study in French. It was really hard. It was a lot of sacrifice on my part. But then with interest, I have interest in languages. I was determined to learn the language and to also study in it. So another sacrifice that I made was socially. In Algeria specifically, the social life is not really as vast as it is down in Southern Africa, or maybe the sub-Saharan region. So there's that close up mindset up there. So and missing family events, missing birthdays, missing graduations, weddings, and also there's a shift with friendships. The friendship I had built in high school, we drifted apart. I mean, it's growth. We are growing in different directions. Quite right, we came from the same tree, but then we're different branches. Everyone is branching differently as we grow older. So some of them are still my contacts. We still have each other's contacts, but we're just different people altogether now. So I had to sacrifice that socially as well. Professionally, sometimes I do think it did affect me. It did cost me in that when I was out there in North Africa, there were people at home, like my colleagues, like we finished grade 12 together. He was my classmate. How is he running an electronics shop? How is he running a whole business? And I'm here fighting with what is an enzyme. I'm here designing a lab report. So it was like, oh my God, am I lagging behind professionally? Am I lagging behind financially? Or for me to be stable in my life? So that did cost me. But was it worth it? Absolutely. It was really worth it for me to go to Algeria for my scholarship because not only did I gain education, that is my master's and my bachelor's, I also had the global exposure. I added another language, or two, should I say, with the Arabic, my broken Arabic, and then networks. I made a lot of networks while there that I am still in contact with right now that are still helping me to date. And also the ability to contribute to science on a continental level. I think if I was to remain back home, I would be somewhat limited to having the exposure to other parts of the continent. But going to North Africa, where there were, I think, 38 different other African nations there. So I had this vast exposure to other parts of the continent, exposed to different cuisines, West Africa, East Africa, Northern Africa itself, and we also bring in our own Southern African cuisines, languages, cultures. So there's that integration. So I think my benefits there outweighs the cost of going out of the country for the scholarship long term.
Interesting. So basically, you had this whole cultural immersion. You went to Algeria with probably 2, 3 languages, and you came back with 6 or so languages. It's quite an addition. And I know your French is really good. I took 3 months of French, and I can barely say a statement in French. But you are those years. That's what, almost 6 years,
Yeah, 6, 7 years. Yeah.
6, 7 years, and you came back home with multiple languages and networks. and this vast exposure. Sounds to me like it's really something that you would do over again.
Yeah, that's right. I think so too. Mm-hmm.
That's really good. But I know that your experience in Algeria when it comes to scholarships wasn't the only one. You were also in Kenya for a really long time. How was that experience? Did you regret it? I'm sure you did not, but I would like to hear from you. And comparing the two scholarship experiences, how was that?
Okay, thank you so much. So, just to put everybody on the conversation up to speed. So, the one for Algeria, it was the Algerian government and Zambian government scholarship. It was a bilateral agreement. And the scholarship in Kenya, it was the Pan African University Scholarship under the African Union. The two were different. First of all, me, my age, when I went to Algeria, I was not mature, I want to say. Um, so there was money, it's a scholarship, there was a stipend. I don't think I used my money wisely then. I was just spending it lavishly and however I wanted to. And I was just there for like, okay, it's the fun of it. We're doing school, everyone is doing school. But then my experience in Kenya was quite different because I was mature and financially mature. Most importantly, I was able to save up. I was able to do something beneficial other than education for myself from the stipend. And Kenya and Zambia basically we're not Siamese because Zimbabweans will come for me for us, and then Tanzanians will come for me for the Kenyans. So we are not, but then we are basically one people. I mean, their omena is my carpenter. I'm going to eat it. Their ugali is my nshima. I am going to eat it. Their stoma is my it's my vegetables. I'm going to eat it. So it just felt like home. It felt more freeing socially. And and one fun fact, I was far from home. Okay, I was away from home, not so far, but then it didn't feel that way. Do you understand? Like it didn't feel like, oh my God, I'm far from family, I'm missing out on birthdays. I didn't have that notion while in Kenya. I was there for 40 months, 3 years and some months. And I did not come back home a single month, a single day.
Mm.
So that's how at home I was while in Kenya. While I was in Algeria, every given summer I traveled back to Zambia. I needed to come back home, come and be home again. So my experience in Kenya was different. I met a lot of friends as well from different African countries. So it was just like an older version of Venzo being in a same setup. So it was just a build up, but it was fun. Though the academic aspect now was challenging for me. So it was a lot. It was different from what I experienced in Algeria, but it was a learning process which I appreciate now. So scholarship wise, those are the differences from the two experiences. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. And also I love that there is this diversity when it comes to the scholarships that you've experienced so far, because I think
Mm.
the competitiveness of the two is fairly different. If you have this bilateral agreement between the, let's say, the Zambian government and the Algerian government, maybe you do not have as many people as you have if you're competing for the African Union scholarship, right? Yeah, because for the African Union scholarship, is literally everyone across the continent, 54, 55 countries, and they're all looking for that one spot.
That's
And so you have these multiple awards. I don't know whether there is any other scholarship that I've skipped that you'd like to share the experience of.
okay. So it's a scholarship, but I didn't go for it. It's actually the Czech Republic scholarship. I don't think you know about that one, do you? But I think I told you while we were in Kenya.
Yes, yes. Ah, yes, I do.
Well, so before I went to Kenya rather. I had applied for the Czech Republic scholarship. So this one is different. So you apply via the embassy. So I actually applied via the embassy. So no, let me take it back. Well, after I finished my master's, that is 2020, while in quarantine, the advert came. I applied. I went through several rounds of interviews. You know that
Mm.
thing that it's not being pompous, but you're almost sure you've gotten something. You know, it's not like you're proud or full of yourself. You're just almost sure, like, I've gone through several rounds of interviews. I've done this right. Everyone seems to like me from the other end of the screen. I'm certainly getting it. And then the day of the final list comes. My name is not there. I was shattered or in quarantine, and I was shattered. I was really shattered. I was like, what went wrong? I blasted their emails left, right, center. Like, what happened? Where did I go wrong? So they said, no, the ministry there also makes a selection. You are not selected from there. I was like, okay, I was beaten, but I did not relent. I did not quit. So I was like, when is your next call? They told me the following year. So the following year, I was in Zambia. I applied for it again. I went through the same round of interviews, exams, assessments, and whatnot. I was trying to be a little modest this time around. You're doing things right, but like, let me not be pompous like last time. Like, let me not jinx it. Like, let me just stay calm. Yeah. So I was just like trying to keep low, but I thought I did well as again. So their feedback delayed to come. That's when I received the African Union scholarship, the notification. That's in February 2022. I received. I'm like, I did not expect it. Let me be honest. The African Union are like, oh, come on, Benzo. Self-doubt, like self-rejection. Like, come on, Benzo. It's like you say, it's 54, 55 countries. There's like 20, 30 different people applying from each country. Like, really, really good people, like doing their thing. What do you know? I was just a fresh graduate. The only work experience I had was 8 months lecturing, which I was still trying to be. I was a rookie at it. I was making mistakes almost every day. Like, you can't even deliver a lecture properly, and you want to do a core PhD with African Union. Calm down. So now it comes, and I see it. I'm like, the African Union picks me. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. I gave my laptop to my colleague, like, please read it for me. Let me not let me be sure I'm not hallucinating. But he's like, no, it's true. This is a notification later. I'm like, are you sure? So I'm like, yeah. Like, do we need to call them to confirm? Like, is it really me? Are they quite me? I'm like, no, just respond. They said you need to respond. So yeah, so that came. I put it on hold, but like, but I want to go to Czech Republic. There's this notion like I want to be in Europe. I've been in Africa all my life.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm waiting for something from Europe coming. So she's like, no, it doesn't hurt. You can take it, and if or when the Czech Republic gives you the feedback, if you get it, then you can go for it. I was like, but won't that be jeopardizing my name? I might be blacklisted from the African Union database and whatnot. She's like, but we have no option because the African Union had a deadline for when to respond and everything. So that's when I went ahead and responded. Then while in Kenya, I think after my first semester, the Czech Republic one came, I was accepted. Everything was just like, it was just blurred now. Like, 1 minute, I don't know how to lecture. Next minute, I have 2 whole scholarships on my table. Who am I really? So I was like, I was really confused. So then I had to make the tough decision of like staying back in Kenya. I did not take the Czech Republic one. So I don't know if that counts. I'm well versed in the application process if anyone needs help in that regard. But then the whole experience of being there and the scholarship, having to learn in Europe or Czech Republic, I don't have it. But the application process, I think I understand it pretty well after doing it twice. Yeah.
Yeah, and I just saw a question pop up. What was your BSc and MSc? What were they in Algeria? Because I know your PhD was in molecular biology and biotechnology.
Yeah, thank you, Munda. And I didn't mention that. Sorry, forgive me. My BSc was in genetics, and then my MSc was genetics and physiology. Basically, so that's biological sciences, and then I specialized in genetics for books. So I did my bachelor's first of all, and then instead of coming back home, I think I missed that part. The Zambian Algeria bilateral agreement is for bachelor's degree only. So after the bachelor's degree, we were meant to come back to Zambia. But then I was like, I looked at my age. I thought I was young. I think I was. I thought I was too young to come in to join the corporate world. I don't think I was ready mentally myself. And I looked at Algeria. It might have its own limitations for a black lady like myself. And then overall, the education there is free. Like you don't pay a dime for education. We are given 3 square meal every day at the university residence. I'm talking about proper meal, like French breakfast, a croissant, nice coffee, a fruit, drinking water, everything like a 4 course meal every single day. The university residence was practically free as well. I think we just paid not more than 5 cents. I think let me say just say 5 cents for a whole year. So accommodation is basically free, food every day, education free, and the government gives you money. So for a bachelor's degree holder gets something like a $50 per 3 months. And then for a master's degree holder, or if you're pursuing a master's, you get something like an $80 per 3 months. So like I have an $80 coming every trimester, and I have free food, free accommodation, free education. Transport is basically it's subsidized as well for students if you produce your student card. So like I think I'm no longer on the scholarship, but then and that is I'll not get stipend. So but I can enroll and continue with my masters. So that's when I stayed back and continued my masters. Everyone was shocked, like, Venzu, you never stayed a summer in Algeria. How are you staying for another 2 years? Let's just go back home. You know how this place is. This one, all those narratives. But I was like, I don't know, guys. I'm just not ready to go home right now. So it was a tough decision. And then I had friends. I had very close friends in the hostels. So I knew I wouldn't be alone. So that's what really kept me going. Like I know I'll not be alone. So my countrymates may go, but then I had a sister from Ghana and one from Zimbabwe. So I was like, I'll be good. So I stayed there and pursued my master's, still in genetics. Yeah.
Amazing. And this part of the conversation, we would like to get into the different questions that were raised by the different people we have on the call, and we'll try to answer each one of them as well as we can based on our different experiences. But let me just cut back into what you're just describing, your experience. The I know for sure the African Union scholarship, particularly that one, is very competitive. I remember in my experience we were told there were about 5,000 applications, maybe more, for molecular biology and biotechnology, and they only picked about 10 students.
Sure.
So if you do the math, it doesn't even add up that much. That's like 0.001. That's like 0.01 in terms of. So in your case, you've been able to get this the double Algeria scholarships, and you're able to get the Czech Republic scholarship. You're able to get this very competitive African Union scholarship. You for sure were doing something right, because it's something that you've been able to reproduce. My question is this:
Mhm.
what what is the one thing you wish somebody had told you before you submitted your very first scholarship application? And I know you ended up getting these applications, but just for the purpose of those who are still going through this journey or who hope to embark on this journey, what do you think you did right? And what do you think were some of the mistakes, maybe on some that you tried and didn't work out?
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. That's true. That's so true. What do I think someone told me before? Okay, before the first application, that is after high school, before my first ever application to Algeria. I wish somebody told me that it's okay to not be perfect, Benzo. It's okay. Just be intentional. I know we all learned how to write a CV in high school and everything, but then this was now real life like situation. I have to write my CV that someone is going to review, not to mark, give me the grades because I used the grammar correctly or I put the address where it's supposed to be. But like, no, this is real scrutiny. So I wish someone told me, like, just be intentional about it because I had to ask for my mother's CV then, I remember. A hard copy of her CV. It was like 5, 7 pages. And then I had written mine in just less than an A4 sheet front page. That was it. Like, that was my CV. So it's like comparing my mother's CV, my mother who had been in service for maybe 25 years then, and myself just fresh out of high school. I was comparing myself like, you can't be like her. You've done nothing. And for me specifically, I hadn't done any work. I had no experience. I had no skills, should I say. So it was just like the CV was just like my name, the schools I've attended, and hobbies that I actually got from my mom's CV, because I didn't even know what are my hobbies. Like, I didn't even know at the time. So I just wish somebody could tell me, like, just be intentional. Just write what you are, who you are. Yeah. And then for after now I got some experience, some exposure. I have some educational background. Uh, what I think I should have done different is not following the masses. Like, for the ones I did not get, I had applied to Italy for a what I don't know I've forgotten what it was called, Erasmus Mundus or something, I think. So I was just following the masses, like, everyone is applying, let's all apply. I didn't have any backing myself, any conviction that that's what I want to be, that's what I want to do. So just be convinced yourself, have self-awareness of what you want to do. Do you want to go this side? What do you want to go and pursue there? How will it impact you, first of all, before it impacts the society? The skill you're going to get there, what is it that you want to use it to do? So just have self-awareness, self-introspection, and make sure that what you're applying for is aligned with your goals in the past, in the present, in the future. Your story should flow. It should have some flowing of some sort. Yeah. And also, what I would have done better is I shunned myself from applying for certain scholarships because of my grades. You see this person, I'm not the best of students, I should say that. You see the A students in class applying for a scholarship and not getting it. So like, what of me, a B or C, D student, will I get it? So you shun from it. But others, the B or C, D, E students who applied for it got it, and the A student did not get it. So that self-rejection, that's doubt, you're doubting yourself, like, I shouldn't go for it because a student has not gone for it or has not gotten it, I will not get it as well. We should shun away from that. That's what happened actually with the African Union scholarship, because people did apply for them while we were in Algeria, masters. People went. It's not people went for them, but then you just look at yourself like, I can't do this. But then afterwards, reality check, like, don't self-doubt you, don't self-reject yourself, man. So just go for it. I think I submitted the African Union scholarship on the day of the deadline, like just a few minutes to them closing the code. That's when I submitted it, after convincing myself, like, you can do it. Women, look at yours. So your application, they might consider you. And alas, they did consider, and voila, we were selected. Yeah.
Amazing. And I guess that's something that we can all take from her experience is you don't necessarily have to be the brightest student with all the A's. The truth of the matter is that when it comes to these scholarships, there are so many other factors that are at play, right? Uh,
Yes.
especially when it comes to, let's say, the postgraduate scholarships, masters, PhDs, you find that sometimes it just depends on the mood in which the person reading your application is in on the other end, right? They don't really care about your grades, and they just want to, okay, I like the name of this guy. It's funny that that's so there is no script, and so that means that if there is no script, it means that you shouldn't disqualify yourself from that opportunity without
Yes.
attempting, right? So make sure you attempt that opportunity. Just give it your best because there's so many other things at play, right? Um, I have a colleague here where I am, and she told me that she got the scholarship she got here because she was the only one who applied. And that's also a fact. So there was no competition in that conversation, right? Because she was the only one who applied. So I think thank you for that nugget, Doctor. that we shouldn't really disqualify ourselves from the conversation, but
Yeah.
there's many other things at play. And one,
If sorry to cut you, like just there when you mentioned your colleague, I remembered what my colleague told me while doing my PA when we were assessing ourselves, like, how did we even make it here? You know, we had I think we're a class of 8 in my class. So he just stood up and said, for you, Renzo, it's because you're female and you're from Southern Africa. We went back as far as the previous 5 years with the African Union. We looked at the list. There was no PhD person from Southern Africa. So like there's not been anyone who applied for PhD from Southern Africa. And secondly, you're a female. This is the only reason you're here. I looked at him and look at myself like, that self that was still there, like maybe he could be right. Maybe I just really married to be here. But I was like, no, 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 I do marry. So there are all those aspects as well. Geography, gender, it's not to be gender biased, but gender could also play a role. Yeah.
yeah, that's so true. No, but I do know, at least I'm sure, for the African Union scholarship, because again, these scholarships, they have what they call the minimum requirements.
Mhm.
So it's similar to the way it is with job applications, right? If they say we need somebody with a master's degree, that's what gets you through the door. But the conversation afterwards can go either way, right? So that you probably need the minimum requirement just so you can be able to have that conversation. Um,
Yes.
but yeah, in most of these scholarships, if you have the minimum it takes to apply, I think just go for it. Uh, because you never know the at least the people who are reviewing, but also what your journey is. I've learned not to disqualify people's journeys. I help a lot of other students. People are trying to get scholarships with just reviewing their statement of purpose or reviewing their CVs.
Yeah.
And few of them have been able to get their scholarships. And I tell them to say, you see, I wasn't able to get the Mexit Japan scholarship. I had a publication, I had a first class degree, they call it a distinction in Zambia. I felt like I had all the qualifications it took. I had a fairly reasonable CV, but I wasn't able to get it. The other person tried, they didn't have as much as I had to offer in terms of stats, but they were able to get it right.
Mhm.
So that means that my journey is not specifically your journey. And so
Mhm.
if you're convinced this is something you need to try out, you are ready to go with the trade offs, I think you should be able to apply for that scholarship. And like Shia said, if you are trying to apply for any of these scholarships or you're working on applying to these scholarships, within the chat, just reach out to me, let me know what you're up to, and then I'll be able to link you with Doki, and then you see how the conversation can go. Yeah, see how she can be able to give you a bit more of specific nuggets. But one attendee here asked about actually several attendees.
Okay.
They are at the application writing stage and finding it a bit paralyzing. So they're asking what separates a forgettable scholarship essay from one that makes a selection committee put a smile. I'm sure you had to write these essays, and do you have anything you can share about that?
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. Thank you. I want to attack the elephant in the room, AI. So I think most of us have the privilege of AI um presently. So we just see a scholarship. Maybe Japanese government is looking for a water engineer, MSc, and then you just copy the description, the requirements, everything. You paste it in whatever AI tool you're using. Perhaps the AI tool is even familiar with who you are as a person. You don't even have to insert your CV or your preferences in there. You just say generate an application or an essay for me, and then it does all the job. And then you copy it and paste it, you lift it in Microsoft, generate a PDF, and then you submit it. You sometimes you don't even go through it, like proofread, like does it really align with who you are and what they are looking for? You just send it like that from a chat from a chat box. So I think we should tailor make our essays. Write them from the bottom of your heart. They are looking for a nurse, a nurse, but for a bachelor's position. You've done maybe a diploma or you are just fresh out of high school. You are passionate about nursing. Tell us why you are passionate. Tell them rather why you're passionate about nursing. Not the generic thing like, oh, I'm passionate about saving lives. I want to do this. I don't want to do that. Just write a story. For example, growing up, I had an aunt who died during childbirth because of negligence of the midwives. So I want to pursue midwifery because I want to change the narrative. I want to ensure that people are passionate about their jobs. People are there to deliver quality healthcare to the people or the patients. And this is what I want to do. This is my background. This is the impact I want to have on myself and to the society. And this is what I want to do afterwards. So there should be a chronological order of your essay. So you tell us, first of all, if it's a synopsis, define what nursing is, what impact is going to have to the scholarship board. For example, if it's the ones that want a mutual benefits from your government and yourself, say how it's going to benefit both parties, including yourself. Or if it's just all from your government, say how it's going to benefit your government, your society. What change are you going to bring in the community when they give you that job, that scholarship to pursue your degree in teaching? So just give it your all. Write the essay from your heart, generate it. We're not shying away from AI. It's the new normal. You can use it to give you ideas, but then construct them yourself. We learned how to write, to do compositions. You know how paragraphs should come about. So just make sure you segment your essay appropriately, let it flow properly from you as a human. Even somebody who does not use AI, if they just read something, you can tell, like, can a human being really say these words? Like there's just that thing that is often presently. You can just subject the PDF to an AI detector, and then they flag it off as 100% AI or plagiarized. You just lift it from somebody else's essay. So let it come from your heart. Write it. You can use AI tools or any other tools to help you perfect the grammar sheet in case you need that, to help you align your thoughts, but you write it from the depths of your heart so that you're able to tailor make it to what they are looking for. They're looking for someone with 3 years of work experience. You have 2. Tell them why, with your 2 years of experience, you are still a suitable candidate for that position. There will be someone with 5, with 10, with 8 applying for the same position, but you with 2 for the role of needing 3 years of experience. Why should it be you? Why should we pick you over the person with 10 years of experience? So just convince the hiring committee that you know what you want. You know who you are. You know how nursing is going to help you. You know how that teaching degree is going to help you. So just make sure it comes from the depth of your heart, well aligned, and speak to the committee as if you were there in the room as they read the essay. I think that those are my 2 cents on that.
That's so important. There are so many ethical ways to use AI. Perhaps that's a conversation we could have as a session in the future. But from prehistoric times, human beings generally think in stories and they do things in stories. So even the products that we have, whether it's the Samsung phone or Apple phone or maybe the drink you're taking, behind it is a story. And I think nothing resonates more with a scholarships committee than a story, a well-written story. So I think, yeah, but like we've said, a lot of these things are very specific. So if you're at the point where you're writing an essay and you need assistance, you need somebody to just give a second opinion, please reach out to me. I have 2 more questions, Doc, and then we can open up the conversation so that we don't go past our time. Uh, I don't know what you feel. I feel like we're at the point where scholarships are so widely communicated now in terms of accessibility. Of course, the difficult part is getting them, which is what we've been trying to talk about. but
Yeah.
still at the same time, there are a lot of these scams and places where these scholarships are not so legitimate. From your experience, do you have any two, three, four recommendations of where people can find genuine scholarship cause so that they can at least utilize their energy towards meaningful opportunities?
Yeah, thank you so much, Munda. Thank you for that question also for the people that asked it. So I know most people, the moment want to search for anything, the first thing that clicks is Google. So just go on Google, and there's a lot of people that are putting anything on Google, but there are also genuine things there. So much beyond Google, we could also surf the university website. Say, for example, you've been eyeing the University of Leeds in the United Kingdom. So you just type University of Leeds, get their official website, and go and search there. They will have maybe admissions or research projects going on, and then you just try and read through what the content is about. You might find a scholarship, might not be 100% scholarship, maybe 80, and then the 20% you have to attain a certain grade for you to get it. So just surf different university website. If you are in Zambia, for example, University of Zambia, just look for it. Do they have any scholarships going on? Any research trips that I can join to work on with them? And then LinkedIn as well for those who are familiar with the application. They can just look for, even LinkedIn has a search box. They can just type bachelor's scholarship in biological sciences. Tons of them will come as posts, as job application, job advertisements rather. So they'll just come on LinkedIn. Just make sure it's authentic from the person. The post life, should it be a job application? It's authentic. Go to the website. Make sure it's true. It's authentic enough. And if it's from the official website as well, that one you're almost always sure it's authentic. So for example, the scholarship we're on, Munda, Pan African University, they have a LinkedIn page, African Union Commission, Pan African University. So you can just go there. They have social media platforms on Facebook and LinkedIn, and then on their website as well. They do publish the course there. So you just make sure you follow such platforms on your social media platforms so that you're able to track or not to miss the notifications when they are published. So, and also official government scholarships like embassies. Like I alluded to earlier, the Czech Republic scholarship that I got, it was via the embassy of the Czech Republican government in Zambia. So you just go on different embassies. Like I've always been eyeing Ireland. I want to see what I think I want to study in Ireland. So you just go on your Irish embassy in Kampala if you're in Uganda, in Nairobi if you're in Kenya. So you look at their website on different social media platforms and on their official website. You just look, do they offer scholarships? Sometimes the call might have ended, so you just write to them. If they don't have that in their FAQs, you just write to them. They usually have emails there when they have the scholarship calls, and then they'll be able to guide you. Also, I would love to emphasize the point of academic networks, such as lecturers. I know we think lecturers is just them coming to tell us what a cell is in class. We draw the cell and then we go out of class. We get an A in their unit or their course, and then we forget about them. But no, these are actually networks that we're supposed to uphold for life, if you so wish. So have that lecturer that you know your interests align with, his or her interests align with what you'd like to pursue. You'd like to venture into animal science, and you have this vet who's taking you in that particular unit. Talk to them. I heard that you went to a conference in Ghana. You're presenting on zoonotic diseases in such a study. I would like to know more. They put you up to speed. Or if you, when you go to Pretoria for such a conference, I've been following your socials. I've seen that you're going to Pretoria. Could you please help me talk to Prof. So and so? He's also on the panel. If he has anything in his research lab, here's my CV. You know, you have that network with your lecturers and even your peers as well. So, yeah, those are some of the platforms you can explore for authentic opportunities.
Amazing. I think what we'll do basically, we'll just probably have a one pager, just indicating some of these sources that you highlighted. I'll probably pull a transcript from this recording and I'll be able to share with everyone who registered for this conversation. And I would add also, if you're looking for scholarships, let's say MSc and PhD, those are really research based. So you can put yourself on ResearchGate. The jobs section on ResearchGate is a pretty good resource. I actually got the one that I'm on currently, my PhD, through ResearchGate, right?
You don't say. That's good.
Yeah. So if you're looking for those kind of scholarships, and those ones usually they're pretty good because it's a lab, and that particular lab already has funding for that project. So they're basically just looking for masters or PhD students to come and do the work. So I would recommend that. As we are winding up, and before we open it up to some questions, failure in this journey is almost inevitable. You will try some of these scholarships, and it happens. They won't, like I said, I didn't get the Mexit Japan scholarship. I really wanted to go to Japan at the time. And there have been a few other micro scholarships that I tried that I didn't get. I've got a number of scholarships personally, but there are those moments when you've tried this journey and it has failed. And what was your reaction, your coping mechanism, and where did you draw strength to try again until you got the particular scholarships? Or in short, how did you deal with failure in those that
Mhm.
you failed?
Sure. Thank you. You just spoke about failure, and this, I just remembered how I felt in the moment, and I felt it right now. Like, failure does hurt, rejection does hurt. So I'm going to cite the example that I mentioned earlier about my first attempt to the Czech Republic scholarship. Um, because I was almost sure I got it, I took it personally. Like I was I was harboring a lot of rage in me and myself. I was like, I'm a failure. I called myself names. But then after reflecting and I just sat down to myself like, crying will not help you. It will not get you another scholarship or anything. So I just had to sit down with myself, have a genuine heart to heart conversation, and ask myself, where can we improve, Renzo? What can we do better? So I now just started venturing into different things to improve my professional life for for me to have a sort of weightier CV. Yeah. So at the time, I did not have any publication. I didn't even know what a publication looked. How do people write this? We used to read them and we just thought it's for the elite. It's just for those people. So just like a publication. How can I even do that? So I just sat down myself like, you can actually write something. Just write something and have the publication to your name. You understand? So I was like, how do I even do that? I didn't even have the know how to go about it. So just from colleagues, peers, and lecturers, mentors helping me out, I sat down, I started writing. I didn't know that not all the publications are supposed to be research based and big reviews. There's actually what's called commentaries, perspective, brief report, like just maybe 1,000 words. So I sat down like, this person said this is a commentary and just wrote like 1,000 words without a figure or a table in it. Maybe I can do this. So I just sat down and like, okay, let me just try and do something. So that's when I ventured into writing to improve my CV. And then I now started applying strategically. Like I said earlier, I did not quit. I reapplied to where I was rejected the previous year, the Czech Republic. And I also even attempted to apply to the famous African Union scholarship, because I now had the VM, sort of the motivation, like, okay, I think we've boosted the CV, we've improved somewhere, and I think we'll be able to be a competitive candidate this time around. So don't beat yourself too much. You can take it personally, but just for the short term, pick up yourself, pick up your broken pieces, see where you can improve. Do you have to tailor your CV for every application that you make? Or are you the one who uses the same CV for every application? You're applying for a research thing, you're using the same CV. You're applying for a job or for academia, same CV. I think you have to sit down and have that conversation. Like, should you tailor your CV accordingly and how you should just apply strategically? and make sure you align with the goals of the scholarship. Yeah.
Dr. Benzo, thank you so much. We have the platform has now a running agreement with Eden University, so we'll be taking some students through some of these things that you've talked about to prepare them for different opportunities after their bachelor's degree. So I think in one of our sessions we should have you again. I really appreciate having you on here. I have to ask, I know you mentioned when we started and others had not yet joined.
Okay.
I studied in Uganda for my bachelor's degree. I learned a bit of Luganda, so I can speak a bit of Luganda. And then I went to Nairobi, Kenya, and I learned lots of Swahili. I can speak a lot of Swahili, even what they call the Swanglish, the diluted Swahili. I'm now in the Czech Republic and I can speak basic Czech. I'm in a class of
Hey,
Czech. Yeah, so I'm learning that. What about you? What are the languages you can speak from these different experiences you've had?
wow. Okay. Uh, I was in Algeria. I can speak French and I can speak the Algerian version of Arabic. So and then while there, my close associates were from Mozambique. Mozambique Lusophones, they speak Portuguese. So I can speak Portuguese as I can understand Portuguese and speak a little of each. And Shona as well, because my closest friend was from Zimbabwe. And well, a Kenyan Kiswahili, I mean, it's practically Bantu, and I'm a Bantu, so I do understand. I'm not sure I can speak, like have a conversation, but if someone is speaking, I mean, I'll pick it up. They're saying Mbuzi. I know Mbuzi is a goat, so I'm going to know that. I say, so yeah, I don't know if I can say I can speak, but I do understand. Yeah, and a bit of Yoruba. My closest associates were Nigerian or in Kenya, so I can understand a bit of Yoruba and Pidgin English. Yes. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Doc.
Yeah.
Um, Guys, thank you so much for being part of this conversation. I'll open it up.